Hey everybody, this is Zach with Realize the Market, and you're tuned in to the Think Realize the Market podcast. Our goal is to connect with entrepreneurs by providing a platform to help others through their experiences. Today we're coming to you live from the Small Business Expo in Los Angeles with two very special guests. We've got Denny and Gia, Denny, it's a pleasure to sit down with you guys. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what you do?
Well, we are a golf product startup. Kind of interesting how the idea came to me. I played golf better part of my life, and I don't know if you're familiar with golf at all, but when you're playing golf, you have a golf ball marker that marks your ball on the green. I didn't like the way the hats, I have it right here. I didn't like the way the hats held the golf ball marker. So what we did was, there's a twofold. We designed it to where you can put it in any hat anywhere. And then also both my brother and my nephew, who are big golfers, my nephew's been playing since he was 3 years old, are left-handed. And there's nothing in the market, the industry, for left-handed players. So we designed it to where you can put the patch, and it's essentially, I'll show you what it is. This is it. It's a patch that just goes on the inside of the hat. I have one on my shoe.
Wow.
And it's super light. It's like the weight of a stick of gum. And there's 3 epoxy-coated neodymium magnets in there that basically hold the ball marker, like here, anywhere you want.
This is really cool. So there's no other solution on the market that lets you have like as much like freedom with where this marker goes?
This is what's currently being used, and it's just a hat clip that you got to slide on. It messes up the hat when you're taking the ball marker off. Where's the ball marker? When you're taking it off, it moves the bill. So it's really not a great solution, and it's ugly. And then you can't leave it on, like you got to take it off if you just want to wear your hat out. So we didn't like that. I hated using these. It is a solution you can use on the left, but you can't put this on your shoe. I have one on my shoe so that I can hold an extra backup ball marker. I have them all over the inside of my bag so that I can hold my ball markers just readily handy when I need to get to them.
For sure.
So, yeah.
How did you guys come up with the product design of it?
It's a great question. So originally we had, when Denny first came up with this idea, he was trying to design something for his brother and his nephew that they could use on the left side of their hat because they're left-handed. And besides the cap clip holder, there are some magnetized hats on the market, but they're only right-handed. So Denny had gotten around, it was about 1 inch in diameter, right?
Yeah.
A single magnet and sewed it into the lining of one of his visors.
Right.
And people really were responsive to it on the golf course saying, well, what is that? How did you do that? And it gave us this idea. So originally we had just put sort of an adhesive on the back of that bigger magnet. But we realized that if we had sort of a ravioli style patch, we could put 3 magnets in there, which gave you a lot more flexibility as to where it could fit into a hat or a bag or on a shoe. And it moved better with the golfer, and it was also lighter in weight. So it solved 3 problems all at once, and all of a sudden we had a completely new understanding of what our product could even be.
Right. Well, that's incredible. So it's such a great story because it's one of like, I see a problem and I know how to solve this problem, but you had no intention, it seems, of like really marketing or selling this item until you realize like how big of a problem this really is solving for golfers. So when it came time to preparing to create this product to sell on a large scale, how did you guys go about getting started with that process?
That's a great question. So I literally, because of the response I was getting, I said, you know what, I might throw some money at this, put some packaging together. A lot of that had to do with Gia's brilliance and her design. A lot of the packaging and everything, we pride ourselves that we're very low minimal plastic. Everything's sourced in the USA presently. We're hoping to keep it that way. And everything's put together here locally. I got off on a tangent.
Okay, well, it started by then wanting to launch that first version on Amazon.
Oh,
which
yes.
we did.
Sorry. That's where my mind, yeah. We had a horrible experience with Amazon. Don't want to get into the details, but we realized that we did not want to go with them any longer, so we just went straight to a website, B2C. And then what we learned along the way is that this is a great giveaway at golf events, because what we do, now we have quite a few customers, clients, that want to design their own logo, put it on the ball marker, and then we could package this together with our technology, and it's a giveaway at a golf event or a tournament, right, or for a golf course that wants to kind of package it together. It's a great way to get your brand out. that's memorable because people hold on to the technology. A lot of those giveaways at events just end up in the trash or they get used once and then, yeah. So that's been really kind of our growth. I'm sure some people like working with Amazon and that works for them. It didn't work for us. We're one product. We're in a product line that really the competitors are that clip. And that cap clip, there's just so many different ways to design that day. So we got lost in the minutia of like what it actually did when we're a unique substitute and a replacement. And we believe an innovative replacement, to that same technology.
So I like the points that you made there. Starting a journey of entrepreneurship in the way that you guys did, kind of like maybe getting thrust into it. There's a lot of things that you realize you have to have taken care of before something works. And like you said, your experiences with Amazon were ones that weren't very successful, and you had to navigate and solve those problems to figure out how to make this work. So how do you stay motivated when it comes to like these roadblocks that come up that we all face as entrepreneurs when trying to get our idea out there?
I'll let her answer that because she's the one that kind of solves all of our problems presently, most of them.
I think that roadblocks call for innovative solutions that you probably had not considered previously. So we launched almost, I think, 2 weeks before COVID hit the United States. So everything that we had planned, including overseas manufacturing, all just disappeared. And we had to switch gears, which led us to sourcing everything domestically and also making a commitment to our low plastic packaging. So it ended up becoming a value system about our business that we knew we wanted to achieve, but we didn't think was going to be possible so early on in the process, because often you're just trying to get a prototype live out and into the market to see what's happening. So sort of those bigger term goals for sustainability or whatever, that they aren't necessarily the top priority. But because COVID changed the way that we had to look at everything, we ended up reversing those values, and it ended up being better for us all around.
It did.
And we ended up discovering, like Denny said, not only that we had a B2C market, but that there was this more promotional market that was available too, and that this actually had better traction in that market at the same time.
Do you guys ever like try to get into real estate, like promotions or anything like that? Like I feel like real estate would be a really good way to provide cap magnets for promotional items. Like, I don't know, my brain's going crazy with ideas now too.
Some of our biggest clients right now in the B2B are like law firms, insurance companies. It is that more, how do I say, white collar golf industry where they're giving them out to clients, or they go and do events, or they just want, to have it for, just for their family and stuff. And they want their product, branded on it.
And I think something like that, for like if a corporation was to want to provide, promotional items to somebody, I think.
They have a budget for it, yeah.
Right, and I think the original cap magnet is something that's super unique and useful.
Yes, and it's a higher end promotional item. It's not a plastic throwaway, which we're so used to seeing.
And on that note, I want to talk about manufacturing. You had mentioned creating your manufacturing process and it not working out overseas and bringing that here into the States. And like for somebody that has, and I don't know your experience with manufacturing, but for anybody who has no experience manufacturing, how did you navigate that world?
Well, we had zero manufacturing experience starting out too, so we were asking a ton of questions. We called so many different kinds of manufacturers, from the fabrics to the adhesives to the magnets themselves to the assembly to the packaging.
People that just assemble stuff together.
Yeah,
so you had your hands in every part of the design.
Yes. Everything is here, and in this case, some of these are actually constructed by hand too, at least partially. Yeah. So because the magnets are very persnickety. So we haven't found an automated, successive solution to that at the moment. So that's an interesting challenge.
They're so powerful that putting them and getting them down, I have to kind of do a slider. I designed a slider that slides one off at a time, because you can't peel them apart. There are a whole row of them, and that power is all being multiplied by how many there are there. When you pull two apart, it's different than pulling one off of 20 or more. So everything has been this incredible learning curve.
Same thing with even shipping, how to ship magnets and the rules about shipping magnets, all those things, the choking warnings, and just all kinds of things you probably wouldn't even think about when you first think, I want to start a business.
Right, like I have this idea, and there's so many things that come with bringing an idea from your head into reality. So I really love to see the success that you guys have seen with the original cap magnet. And do you guys have any plans on maybe venturing into any other golf products in the future?
Yeah, actually, I'll let you take that because that kind of came from your idea. The different colors and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, well, yes. So certainly expanding the line itself of the different patches, probably different sizes, different colors, things like that, because we've had a lot of response from female golfers who want different color patches. And certainly to expand the line into additional new golf accessories as well. So,
and we do have an additional partner that had a great idea on a different directional, very flat, flush ball marker. So yeah, that's one of the other things we're looking at. But right now, we're just trying to chase the success we've had with this and really get the idea out. The unique thing and the challenge of this is that because it's so unique and different, it's not easy to explain. And if you're explaining it to someone that's a non-golfer, it makes that challenge even worse. Because even golfers are like, wait, what? Oh, and then there's the aha moment. But it takes a minute or so to explain what it does. But for a non-golfer, it's very difficult. And some non-golfers are like purchasers for their father, brother, sister, loved one that are a golfer. So it's getting that message out to non-golfers has been the biggest challenge.
Well, I'll tell you what, I personally don't golf, and I really don't know too much about golf, but the way that you guys have articulated your story and the solution to this problem that people have been having, like, made me understand very quickly, like, the value of this here. So I think you guys are definitely on the right track. Are you guys currently, how are you getting your message out to people right now?
We've done a little bit of, I mean, she kind of headed up, but I'll let her elaborate. But we've done a little bit of Facebook advertising. We're thinking of doing some Google, but that's kind of the next thing. What we've done is we've reached out to different courses and promotional companies to try and really focus on the B2B. But our B2C literally has happened through her SEO and osmosis through the website, and it's just word of mouth. Every time I play golf,
really
I talk about it.
Organic traffic that we get based off of the SEO from the website.
Which is the best traffic. You know, organic traffic is the best
That's
traffic.
what people are always trying to get. So we're very fortunate that we do get it.
You know, and I asked that question just to preface, like, you know, what's the next, in your opinion, what would be the next step if you created a product and you saw some success with it? Because, I mean, you guys have made it pretty far to the point where you're literally like almost creating technology for this thing, and you have your hands in every single aspect of the product from beginning to end. So for somebody who might not have made it that far, they just created a product that's working, it's like, what would be their next step to see that product get to a scalable level?
I think partnership, whether it's with manufacturers or other distributors, becomes the next key step to growing your business from your kitchen or your garage or wherever your small space is to the next level. All those relationships, that's why we're all here today, right? We're here to meet people and to develop relationships that can be beneficially mutual. Let me say that again. Did I say it in the right order? Mutually beneficial. That's the order I wanted. There we are. So I think that
beneficially mutual is well.
No.
Yeah, it works.
So I think, you know, for us, for example, you know, a goal would be to have licensing through the NFL.
Right.
Or something like that, where the Cat Magnets technology is paired with an existing brand to elevate it to yet another level. That would be our next step.
I think licensing is an excellent idea. And have you guys made any strides towards trying to get some licensing deals, or is that something you guys are still trying to figure out right now?
Still trying to figure it out, and really we haven't even jumped on to tackle it because there's other obstacles that we're going. Like, honestly, both of us have separate careers. This has been kind of a venture that we've taken on as a part-time, and we do it kind of full-time in addition, but there's a little bit of that, let's just start to perfect this arena before we really dive into something that could be just, because you can also fail by bringing in something that you can't back up, you know? So if we get a large
because we are the manufacturer, all of it falls sort of on us as well. So the scalability at this point is.
So you guys both have 2 full-time jobs.
Yes.
How do you guys manage your time?
You know, I remember seeing a quote one time is that if you really count up the hours in a week, you can have 2 full-time jobs and still have plenty of time to sleep and have personal time too. Do the math. And I remember having it as like a little, because I'm in finance and numbers are my thing. So I had it written out there, how many hours are in a week, and then how you have a full-time job, and then your personal time, sleep time, and everything like that. And there's enough to have still another full-time job. So we fill it into the weekends and the evenings. The good thing is we both work from home, and we kind of make our own schedule, so that definitely helps. We don't have to clock in. We're our own bosses. So
I was going to say that's the other thing. We're
Yeah.
very privileged because we do have flexible full-time employment, so then we can sneak away during the week for an event like this, for example, or for, when we're visiting some of the courses out of state where the product lives. We have the flexibility to go and take care of those clients as well. So yes, there's a lot of just keeping up with the hustle. Everybody in the gig economy knows this to be true. And there is some truth to just that there is time if you make it, but you do have to make the time. And we're also very lucky because we don't have to commute. I know that a lot of people's time gets chewed up in the car, and it's understandable to easily lose 2 or 4 hours a day just trying to get where you're going. So again, we recognize how lucky we are, how privileged we are to have that flexibility, which lets us then be able to work on another project.
For sure. And I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of luck involved in that, but you guys have obviously worked very hard to put yourselves in a position to be able to create this foundation for yourself so that you guys can do the things that you like to do. And I think that's like a major goal for most people. So what kind of advice would you have for somebody who's trying to pursue that goal of getting enough time to be able to do the things that they want to do?
If you really sit down and you look at how much time do you spend watching Netflix and how much time do you spend watching games on Sunday, I miss football on Sundays and the season starting, but I don't miss it that much because my Sunday, I would be like, all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock in the evening, what happened to my Sunday? Now I got to start Monday again. So it's like it's all about, you budgeting your own time. And there's definitely hours in the day. I found you just got to take the time, where it's filling other voids. So what's your priority? Really, what's your priority? And I had a big passion for it because when I came up with the idea, I'm like, look, if I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to spend time and money on this, I'm not going to do it half-ass.
Right.
I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it seriously. And then, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, well, then I've moved on. It's something that I was excited about. So,
and we're also lucky because we get to do this together. And I think that's a big motivating factor for a lot of people is if they have another partner that they enjoy engaging in the work with, because you can generate more excitement in those moments where it can feel like, oh, we're never going to get out of this trench.
Right.
And you can dig out of it together. But it
Right.
is easier when you have someone else to keep you accountable, to keep you motivated, even just to set simple things up. If you're self-employed, which we both are, you do have to be diligent about your time.
yes.
And the only person you can be accountable to is yourself. So if you rope in someone else to your business, you have a buddy to help keep you both on the
Accountable.
straight and narrow.
I love that.
I don't know if we shared that, by the way, but we are both partners in life and partners in business.
Yeah, that's incredible. So how is building this business together?
No comment.
And we don't have to get that personal, but I am curious too because me and my spouse, we work very closely together as well, and we still have a relationship, and sometimes personal work and relationship stuff, they can sometimes get in the way of each other, and doing so can affect the work that gets accomplished on both of our sides. So how do you guys navigate growing a healthy, fruitful relationship while building a profitable business with a purpose?
I think, do you mind?
Please, ladies first.
I think there's an old saying that says something like, if you ask a team of people to design a horse, they'll give you a zebra, which is a little way of saying that if there's too many people in charge of creating a vision, you end up not having anything valuable. So I think in business, there's a reason that there's a hierarchy of whose decisions are the final call. I think when you know who's in charge of what, your challenges in communication can be resolved because you already know the deferential patterns that would exist if you didn't have a separate relationship.
And I love it. I think that also helps you guys maximize your time more, because if you understand each other's strengths and weaknesses, you guys can delegate those tasks out to one another or somebody outside of the picture to really help see this thing all the way through.
And I believe it makes for more efficiency too, because there's certain areas that she does design, she designed this packaging. I pride myself on showing people that this opens up and folds on itself, and pretty much every inch other than these is being utilized by information and sharing.
Sure.
And there's no extra plastic in there, it all folds up on itself. And then we have our little barcode thing that tapes it closed at the end. That's it. She designed that. She
Yeah,
doesn't have engineering experience. She just literally is graphic design. She just designed this packaging.
How many iterations did it take you before you landed on something you guys were comfortable with?
You know, I think we did 3.
Yeah.
The figuring out the little cuts at the bottom for stability and ease of actually assembling the packaging. That took a tiny bit of work.
What was the most expensive part of the process?
The actual stamping of the patches themselves. Yeah, because
Cutting them.
they have to be hand placed as they are right now. So we make these giant sheets. We have these huge sheets with these 3 magnets, spaced out, and then the adhesive is on the back, and then they have to be placed onto a special machine that's then stamped. And each of those sheets is hand placed.
Wow.
So that is the most expensive part of the process right now.
Sounds like it. Are you trying to figure out ways that you can maybe make that process a little bit cheaper without obviously sacrificing the integrity of the product?
Yes. I mean, that is certainly, we ended up doing that because of all of the changes in the manufacturing that would have been done, and we probably wouldn't have had all of our hand in how it would have been done, and sort of quality control. Not sort of, actual quality control.
Right.
We wouldn't have had a lot of control over. But in this, we see, pretty much every piece that comes through. So
Yeah, that's incredible.
So wrapping up here, what's one piece of advice you would give to somebody who's inspired to create a product, who has a great idea and needs to get it out of their head into reality?
Take some time. Do the research, because I'm sure everybody said, I had a great idea, but do the research to find out if it's been done. I remember the day that it was a day or 2 before our first date, right? I met her through a mutual friend. It's a great story, but I won't bore you with the details. And the next day I said I'd call her, but I didn't call her. And that day I was finding out that there was a patent that was similar to, and I was going through that whole day just digging in research, and I actually found out that I didn't even have to waste my time worrying about it because it had expired. So I literally was going down this rabbit hole of I can't believe I put time and energy into this. Not a lot of money, but definitely money on making prototypes and stuff like that, all to find that there was a patent that it wasn't even like this. It's just with patents you can be all inclusive, and you can include areas you're thinking about doing, but you don't actually do.
For sure.
And so part of that was thinking about doing a patch or different. It wasn't like this, but it was a circular thing that attaches to the inside of a piece of golf clothing. And that loose definition literally encompassed that. But it had expired, and then our first design and everything like that kind of evolved to this ultimately where, Anyway, long story short is that take the time, do the research, and don't give up. Unless you found that, I've looked at it and they've already done it, or it's not worth it, or it just doesn't make sense, don't give up, keep pushing, because I literally, there's 3 or 4 or 5 times, going through the Amazon route, is that she was kind of one of the ones that said, we don't need to go through them, pull it out, pull all the product out of there. And it's crazy because we almost may have legal ramification, because we pulled all of our product back and it was a prior version. They're still finding it, and I'm getting notifications that they've sold one.
Wow.
And we don't want old product being sold that's not even the current version.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's been a nightmare. So it's just stick with it, keep pushing forward. The obstacles are going to come, just be resilient and just push through it. And you'll figure out ways, and I've learned so much, both in working with her and other people in this, and just figuring out where my limits are. And it's amazing what you can do if you just really have a passion and a drive for it.
Wow, that's incredible. What about you? Do you have any thoughts or advice?
I think if you find that somebody else already came up with your idea, you shouldn't be upset. I think you should be excited that you're on to something.
Yeah, on the right track.
Yeah, that you are in the zeitgeist, you're feeling whatever the cultural vibe is right now. So your ideas are good, which means you need to lean into them and figure out what hasn't actually come to market. And it may just be a tweak on something that already exists. So I just would also encourage people to keep experimenting and to never give up.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So do you guys have any final thoughts or anything like that you want to share with anybody? How can people find you? Let's start there.
You can find us at capmagnet.com, so capmagnet.com, and then we're on social media at the Cap Magnet.
At the Cap Magnet
Cap
on
Magnet, yeah.
Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So come say hi.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I think we had a really valuable conversation.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Zachary.
Zachary.
Appreciate you taking
You're
the
very
time.
welcome. I hope you guys the best success.
Thanks.
so
You
much.
too. Take care.